Jesus is the one who made us holy. So let's go back and take a look at this. So now, holiness. So under this now, on this R, put this next part down, the next R you have there. Reconciled to God. Reconciled to God by the death of his son. That's from verse 10. That's another R we have. And I got some other R's we'll talk about on Tuesday. Reconciled to God by the death of his son. We were made righteous. And we are now able to be holy because we were reconciled to God by the death of his son. Because of Jesus' death, we are now reconciled unto God. And what does reconciliation mean? I love this. Reconciliation simply means restoration to favor. That we had favor, and something happened, and now we have now been restored to receive that favor again. So that's why believers should walk around and believe in favor. That we now walk and believe and accept the fact of the favor that we have because we've been reconciled by his son. Reconciliation. Restoration to favor. We've been reconciled to God by the death of his son, which means at this point we've now been restored to favor because of his son. We could not do anything to now get the favor of God, and now we've been reconciled to restoration of favor here. Let me go and get this hour right here as well. Just write down verse 8, and I'll read it to you. You can write that down later on. The I we have. In that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Verse 8. That's beautiful. While we were yet sinners, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So all these folks talking about, I'm going to come to church and I clean myself up. You can't get that clean. Because at this point, he died for us while we were sinners. While we were sinners. In our sins, he died for us so we wouldn't have to now accept the consequences spiritually of sin. In that while we were sinners, Christ died for us. So read, if you can see this, read this with me, please. Holiness doesn't make you saved. Holiness is a result of being saved. Come on, somebody. Holiness is not what makes you saved. Holiness is a byproduct of being saved. Because now we are set apart for the Lord. It doesn't make us saved. It makes you at that point, it's a result of being saved. Holiness right now, a closer following of Jesus. Now I love this right here. If you can't see this bottom, I love this. Oh, you can't see this. It says holiness, and at the very bottom, an invitation to the extraordinary. Oh, glory. Holiness, an invitation to the extraordinary. That now through holiness, I can now be positioned to receive and live an extraordinary life. But I have to embrace the fact and have a mindset that I'm already holy. Because I've been set apart from, to be set apart for. Set apart from the world and set apart to God. An invitation to holiness. I walk in what? Righteousness. Walk in what? Holiness. And the last we're going to talk about here to finish up, godliness. 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 Now, everybody's talking. Okay, everybody. What's godliness? Anybody? And so I'm just going to say cleanliness. Like cleanliness, that's the godliness. So the idea was, and you know, when I was visiting, I just remember when I was growing up and going down, and T.T. lived in Canton, Mississippi, that big metropolis down there. And we would go visit some neighbors and said, the ladies in there clean up our house. I got to clean up because I got to clean up so I can be godly. And I'm like, what? So the idea, so godliness and exterior cleanliness don't have any kind of correlation. Let's go back and take a look at this. Godliness, we said first of all that we talked earlier that righteousness is being right with God. We talked earlier about holiness being whole through God. Where right now godliness is being good with and for God. Godliness is being good with God. I can be good with God because God's on my side. And because I know he's on my side, I can now be good for him. I can be good with God, and also because I'm good with God, I can now be good for God. Come on, get that now. I can be good with God because God's at this point the Holy Spirit's directing us, and now I can be good for God because I know everything's good now with God. Now I can be good for him. See, if I think my relationship with God is strained, and I don't think I'm good with God, I can't be good for him. If I think at this point that I did something so bad at this point, I'm not good, that we're not good, at that point then, I can't be good for him. I remember seeing this, I don't know what this was, a story or something. I was watching TV one night and just flipping through, and it was a situation that occurred where these two guys obviously grew up together. They were really close, and then one of them just did something like, I think either he told on and the other one got arrested or something, and the picture talks about when they got reconciled years later. And all this time, the one that squealed on this other one, and this when the one that was in jail, when I get out, I'm going to get him back. When I get out, I'm going to get him back. I'm going to get him back. So they finally got together. The one who had squealed, the one who was done wrong. And then they got together, and they went back and said, and they were concerned about how they were going to respond. And they saw each other, you saw them looking at each other kind of fierce, like they're about to take off and just throw down each other. And they went back and hugged each other and said, there's no beef here. I don't have any beef with you. And they were just hugging like, so these big old burly men, look like some look like Donnie. They're big old burly men right here. They're just hugging and crying and everything. Because he said, I don't have any beef with you. Well, here's what God said. God said, I don't have any beef with you. You keep living like you did something like that that messed up. I don't have any beef with you. You keep acting like I did something. I don't have any beef with you. We live our lives like God is holding over the past over our head. God said, I don't have a beef with you. I sent Jesus to die for you so we can be reconciled one to another. I don't have a beef with you. I don't have a beef with you. I don't have a beef with y'all. We're being good with God so we can be good for God. Last thing we have right here, godliness is an attitude and action that's well-pleasing to God. That's really where it comes from. When you go back and look at the Greek word eubesio, it means attitude and action, well-pleasing to God. Attitude and action, well-pleasing to God. Got that? Godliness, attitude, and also action, well-pleasing to God. Here's my question right now. Lastly, here we go. Finish this last one up. What do we do to become well-pleasing to God? What do we do to become well-pleasing to God? This is not rhetorical. What do we do to become well-pleasing to God? Stay in His Word. What do we do to become well-pleasing to God?
Act upon His Word.
What do we do? All right. Sounds like a boy. What do we do to become well-pleasing to God? Y'all know the verse from before. We talked about this last week. This is going. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. When we are saved, we embrace the fact that our mind is set that we're already righteous. We've been made right with God. We're already holy, been made whole through God. And we're already good. We're good with God, and since we're good with God, we're good for God. Embracing what He's done. Embracing that His Son died for us to have favor. And embracing that God loves you. And embracing that you're still righteous. And embracing that you're still holy. And embracing that you're still at this point godly. Recognize at this point, embrace, read this with me 3 times now as we finish up. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. It's again, embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. One more time. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. God, we thank you for being so wonderful.